Ever come across those like investment schemes that sound way too good to be true? You know the ones I'm talking about? The ones promising crazy high returns, but like with no risk?
Oh yeah, those are always a little suspicious.
Well, today we're going deep on one of those called Yata.biz, and we've got a YouTube video breaking it down.
Oh, interesting.
It brings up some red flags for sure, so think of this deep dive as like Scam Detection 101. We're going to figure out why this particular program is so eyebrow-raising and give you the tools to spot similar stuff in the future.
Yeah, that's important. Being a good investor nowadays means knowing how to separate the real deals from the fakes.
For sure. And Yata.biz is making some pretty bold claims. Let me tell you, their website boasts daily returns of up to 3.5%.
Whoa, really?
Yeah. And get this, they even have this investment calculator thing on their website. It projects that a single dollar could turn into $250,000 in just 1 year.
Wait a minute, now before you go quit your day job, let's talk about why that kind of return is just not realistic.
Yeah, okay.
It all comes down to the way these things are structured. It's like the classic Ponzi scheme setup.
Oh, so it's like a house of cards. It all falls apart eventually.
Exactly. Ponzi schemes pay early investors with the money from new investors. There's no real profit behind it.
Ah, I see. So it can't last forever.
Nope. And that's where this YouTuber's analysis gets really interesting. He actually pulls up information straight from the SEC website.
The SEC?
Yeah, you know, the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. They're the ones who regulate the financial markets and protect investors.
Right, of course. So what does the SEC say about all this?
Well, they have this warning about offers that promise super high returns with little to no risk. They say it's a classic sign of a Ponzi scheme.
And in Yata.biz seems to fit that description pretty well.
Yeah, no kidding. And that SEC warning isn't just some random advice. It's there because Ponzi schemes are actually illegal in most countries, including the U.S.
Oh, wow. So even getting involved as an investor could get you in trouble.
Exactly. It's not just about losing your money. You can end up breaking the law without even realizing it.
That's a good point. Something for our listeners to definitely keep in mind. But it sounds like this YouTuber dug even deeper than that. He was looking into Yata.biz's domain registration details too.
Ah, yes. The good old due diligence. You got to do your homework before you invest in anything. And in this case, it revealed some pretty big problems.
Like what?
Well, for one thing, their About Us page doesn't match up with the domain registration information at all.
That's suspicious. What kind of inconsistencies are we talking about?
Well, the domain registration shows that it's registered in Russia, and the ownership details are hidden. Plus, there are some conflicting timelines about the company's history. It just doesn't add up. It's like they're trying to look legit, but the details just don't support their story. This is why it's so important to be skeptical and do your research, especially when something promises unbelievable returns.
Yeah, that's good advice, for sure. I mean, 3.5% daily returns, that's just crazy.
Totally. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
You got that right. Well, we've covered a lot of ground already, but there's still more to unpack. Let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back with more on Yata.biz. And you know what really gets me about this whole thing? The YouTuber was saying how a lot of people get pulled into these schemes through like their friends and family.
Yeah, it's true. Scammers love to take advantage of that trust. They know a recommendation from someone you know is way more powerful than any random ad.
So it makes it even harder to like think straight about the investment because you trust the person who's telling you about it.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important to remember that you still have to do your own research, even if your best friend is the one promoting something.
It's like that saying, right? Trust but verify.
Haha, exactly. You always got to verify, especially when it comes to your hard-earned money.
And you know, the YouTuber also talked about how most people who invest in these Ponzi schemes actually end up losing money.
Yeah, that's the sad reality. They get drawn in by those early returns, which are usually inflated to create a sense of excitement and urgency.
So it's all part of the scam, like a way to hook people.
It is. Those early payouts are designed to get you to invest more and tell your friends about it.
But eventually the whole thing crashes and burns.
Right. Because it's not sustainable. It all relies on new money coming in, and eventually that dries up.
It's kind of a pyramid scheme, right?
Very similar. And the YouTuber shared this crazy statistic. He said over 95% of people who invest in Ponzi schemes end up losing their money.
Whoa, that's a lot. It's like almost everyone.
Yeah, it is. It's a really stark reminder of how devastating these scams can be. Not just financially, but emotionally too.
For sure, it can ruin people's lives. It's not just about the money. It's about the broken trust and the stress and the impact on relationships.
Absolutely. It can have a ripple effect. And you know, at the end of the video, the YouTuber talked about some alternative ways to make money online that are actually legit.
Oh yeah, like what?
He mentioned things like affiliate marketing and building an online business, things that take more effort but are actually sustainable.
So it's about building something real, not chasing after these get-rich-quick schemes.
Right, it's about creating value, not trying to take advantage of other people.
And you know, this whole conversation about Yata.biz has made me realize something. This is just one example of the scams out there.
Oh yeah, there are tons of them. And they all use similar tactics to trick people.
So it's not just about Yata.biz, it's about being aware of these tactics so you can protect yourself from any scam.
Exactly. The names and the details might change, but the underlying principles of deception are always the same.
So we need to develop a good BS detector, basically.
Yeah, something like that. You got to be able to spot the red flags, especially in today's world where there's so much information flying around online.
It can be hard to know what to trust.
That's true. But by learning about these scams and how they work, we can empower ourselves to make smarter decisions.
And that's what this deep dive is all about, right? Giving people the knowledge to protect themselves.
You got it. Knowledge is power.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about Yota.biz and this whole Ponzi scheme thing, but what's the big takeaway for our listeners?
Well, this Yota.biz case is just one example, but the tactics we've been discussing, those are common in a lot of scams.
So the crazy promises and the pressure to invest quickly and the lack of transparency.
Exactly. Those are all red flags. And learning to recognize them. That's super important in today's world.
It's like having a superpower, right? A scam detector.
Yeah, kind of. So how can our listeners actually put this knowledge into action? What can they do to protect themselves?
That's a good question. What do you think?
Well, the first thing is research. Don't invest in anything until you've really looked into it.
Okay, so what? Google the company.
Yeah, look for reviews, check their track record, see if they've got any credentials, and don't just rely on what they say about themselves.
So getting a second opinion.
More like 100-second opinions. Look for independent sources.
Gotcha. So it's like checking references before you hire someone.
Exactly. You want the full picture, not just the sales pitch.
Makes sense. What else?
Trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is.
Yeah, but what if I see other people making money?
Don't let FOMO get you. Remember those early gains in a Ponzi scheme? Those are just bait.
Right. So if it sounds too good to be true.
It probably is. And hey, if you're ever not sure, talk to a financial advisor or someone you trust.
Someone who knows their stuff.
Yeah, they can help you make a good decision.
This whole deep dive has really been eye-opening for me.
It's important to be careful out there.
No kidding. You can't just trust everything you see.
And you know what? The tactics we talked about today, they don't just apply to investments.
Oh, really?
Nope. You see them everywhere. Business deals, relationships, online information.
So it's about being a good judge of character and information.
Exactly. Thinking critically, not letting your emotions cloud your judgment.
That's good advice for life in general.
It is. So remember, folks, knowledge is power. Stay informed, stay vigilant, and always protect yourself.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Well, that's it for today's deep dive into Yata.biz and the world of investment scams.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
We hope you learned something new today and that you'll be able to spot those red flags in the future.
Stay curious, stay skeptical.
And as always, happy diving.